In part B of this question, we want to find the value of sine theta. Okay, and again, if you look at the picture up at the top, we should be able to see sine theta because sine is y over r. If you just rationalize that, that's your answer. Okay, we can tell by the picture really quickly that the answer is going to be this. And now again, it kind of stinks because we're not really supposed to be using the picture. All right, we're supposed to be using formulas. We're supposed to be using identities. And so look at what you want to know. We want to know sine theta. Look at what you already know. We know tangent theta. But we also know secant theta because we just found it in the last part. And by the way, we know cosine theta. I mean, we know the reciprocal of secant. So we actually know kind of a lot of stuff. And so we have options here. There are several different formulas that you could use. And so we look for one with some stuff that we know, okay? Look back at your identities. And probably the one that I like to use the most is this one, okay? Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. This is one that you need to memorize. It's the Pythagorean identity. It's the most important one probably, the most common one definitely. So what I want to use is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. This is one way of doing it. There are certainly other ways of doing it. But cosine squared, remember cosine is going to be the reciprocal of secant. So I'd have 3 over negative square root of 34 squared. That's the reciprocal of secant, but I'm going to end up squaring. And so I don't even need to rationalize that denominator when I flip it, because the square is going to make that go away. When I square that, I'm going to get 9 over 34. And so I'm looking at sine squared theta plus 9/34 equals 1. So in order to solve, you're just trying to undo operations, just like you've done since Algebra 1 class. So you're going to subtract this 9/34 over. But we're dealing with fractions here. So if you're going to deal with fractions, let's get a common denominator. Let's call that 1. Let's call that 34/34. Okay? And so 34/34 minus 9/34 is 25/34. So we're saying sine squared theta equals 25/34. And so the last step, if I want to get sine theta, I'm going to have to get rid of that squared. I'm going to have to do the square root. Now, the most common mistake that people will make is they forget it's plus or minus, actually. Okay, it's a plus or minus square root there, because at this point, we haven't really considered what quadrant we're in. Okay, so you do a plus or minus square root of 34. That's going to give sine theta equals plus or minus 5 over the square root of 34. Now, in that step, you can go back and say, oh, yeah, but wait a minute, we're in the second quadrant, right? We're in the second quadrant, and what do we know about sine in the second quadrant? It's positive. So we know it's going to be the positive version. Let's just rationalize. And that's going to give us sine theta equals 5 times the square root of 34 over 34. Okay. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would we want to do all that work when we can just look up at the picture and get it a lot faster? Okay? We can look at the picture and get that same answer a lot faster, and that's true. Okay? That's a tough question, but I guess the answer to that question, why do I have to do it this way, is just because we're trying to learn something. All right? We're trying to exercise our brains. We're trying to learn a new technique. We're trying to learn about these ideas. Okay? So this may not be the fastest way of getting that answer, but that's what we're going to do. So let's look at part C, cotangent of negative theta. Now, remember your negative angle identity. This is an odd function. Cotangent is odd, and when you've got an odd function, you're allowed to just pull that negative out. Okay? So negative cotangent theta. We're still in example 1, so we've still got all this. We've still got all the same given information. Okay? Remember how we knew tangent? At the very beginning, tangent was negative 5/3. Tangent was negative 5/3. Well, cotangent is just that reciprocal. Okay? Cotangent is just that reciprocal. So negative reciprocal we'd have negative 3/5, or the opposite of negative 3/5 is positive 3/5. Cotangent negative theta equals 3.